Dad seems like father, like son. That Stefan, to make his money, perhaps was into that rental game, and hence Jennifer subletting all of her. This is, I guess, a way for them to make money out of maximizing the space that they have. And the dad's LinkedIn, he said he's worth what? 200 million in real estate.
He says he's worth 200 million plus in residential real estate sales. He says that he's got 30 million.
Oh hell no!
Oh hell no! He also did a digital Florida luxury home guide magazine and marketing that Stefan had listed on something a while back, and then he changed it to a smart build. Okay, so right here, look at this. So he was previously licensed in California from 02 to 04 with 15 million sales. That's interesting to me, how in 2 years in California, it's 15 million.
Could have sold one property for 15 million.
Yeah,
in California,
that's
right?
crazy. Yeah, that's just like one. That's nuts. I noticed the brother will misspell his last name on purpose now with an A, which is interesting. And he works in computers, namely making websites. This is his dad. This is Chris. Chris actually has a history of real estate development. As you can see, I highlighted right here, a $200 million plus career in residential real estate. DutyRon knows this. I used to work in real estate, mainly building databases, but interestingly enough, Florida is one of the only places other than Texas where you can do the absolute bare minimum in real estate and get by. And by that, I mean apartment locating, which is what Stefan seemed to do. In fact, if you...
Like father, like son. Right?
Yes, and if you do a search on Stefan's background and his old LinkedIn and the information he shares on his Facebook, you'll notice that the only real estate companies he ever worked with happen to be linked directly to his father, which to me screams nepotism, screams my son's a loser, I have to get him a job, which not everybody is a loser who gets a job with their parents. But when you're his age...
I like that you put that out there. I like that little disclaimer, right?
But when you're his age and you've had ample opportunity, and when you come from a place of wealth and you are set up for success and you've spent time in juvie, you have mooched off of your girlfriends your whole life, which isn't just something I'm saying. This is publicly available. You can hear it from his friends. You can see it on his Facebook. To take the bare minimum job in real estate, working as a secretary at a home builder company, and then eventually only having one property listed, that is enough to get you maybe a month's rent. And you're spending all your time playing with little figures and using your girlfriend and your parents to buy you this when you're in your 30s. That's pathetic to me. That's like, he's not trying. He doesn't care. And I can imagine it was stressful being his parents.
When you look at Stephan Sterns getting information publicly from his roommates, from people who he grew up with, it gives you a good idea of what this person was about and how he grew up and how he was as a young adult, how he was as a teenager.
I'm not even going to say baiting, because what he was doing was illegal. He was with a 14-year-old openly when he was in high school on his social media, and he continued to contact her when she was getting married as an adult. He's like, congratulations. Wow. And she's clearly not friends with him, but he's following her. Now, all of this, I think clearly his parents or someone went in and altered, because within a few days of him getting, of this blowing up on the news in general and then him getting arrested, we started to see some of his profile actually get limited, but you'd have to go really far back to see that. And to be the day after that roommate straight up gave information about him dating a high school girl, and then that information was removed except for the public posts that they can't remove, which would only be available in his activity from 10 years ago.
Look, we know that this guy's a sneaky right? We know that Stephan Sterns did that factory reset oops thing. It was unintentional. He intentionally was trying to get rid of evidence because he knew that the heat was on from the night that they made that report inside Jennifer's mother's place of business, tax firm or whatever the hell they do there. And you saw the whole family there. He was shitting himself then. And then he shit himself the next day when that female detective told him, we're going to be holding on to your phone. So in between that night when that report happened on the night, 8 o'clock, or close to 8, going to the next day, he started trying to cover his trail. And he even went back, we know now, possibly he or her alone went back to the actual murder scene. Did he go back there to try to move her? I believe at 3 a.m. when he went back there that possibly Jennifer was sleeping and he went back there to maybe I want to move her, because murderers do this, right? If they murder and dump somebody somewhere, they start to get paranoid and they're like, oh shit, the cops are on to me. Maybe I should move her. Maybe she's not in a good, and maybe that's what he did.
Yeah. And also to see if there's buzzards. I think that that's a big concern, especially, it's not just serial killers. I know people are talking about that in the chat. It's anybody who kills someone, and even farmers, like where I grew up, if you have to put down a horse, you're constantly going back to make sure the buzzards aren't on the bone. But when you're thinking about a human, I'd imagine it probably clicked to him all the problems. Is the landowner going to go back and check? Does he see any vehicles? Are there cops there? Is there a helicopter? Are there drones?
A very paranoid person. What did you dig up on Mom? Anything?
Oh God, Deb.
Why no picture? I guess she shamed herself and took it down.
I honestly don't know, but probably a face for radio. That she owns a company called Sterns Standard Poodles, which, if you remember in the emails, they're breeders. I'm talking about they breed animals. This is it. Poodlebreeders.com. Can't be more specific than that. They've got miniature and toy poodles, as you can see. This is the dogs that they're talking about, or these are the dogs they are talking about in the emails. The Sterns Dazzling Vegas Showgirl is this one. You can see, or this is her website that is public on the LinkedIn. She goes on to explain all of the different dogs in the background and how they test the dogs, how they declaw them by their dew claw, they dock their tails. Ugh. This is just kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe they still do this. They do keep up with the website. They are active breeding. The dad, I'm not going to sit here and pull up all their personal stuff, but I'll tell you this much. The dad, according to the roommates, which lines up with what we can see publicly online, tends to not be home a lot. He travels throughout Florida and the US for real estate ventures. He's not home a lot. Deb's home a lot. Deb has a history of anytime Stefan gets into trouble, allegedly showing up with a folder like she's Vince McMahon, giving someone money, and then the problem goes away. Fair enough. How dare you, Deb?
Hey, I also wanted to make mention that Stephan Sterns, in the beginning of this, when he was talking to investigators, he talked about how annoying those dogs were and how they were enough to, I think he said, it's enough to drive anybody crazy, the barking, and my parents are really annoying. And now we see in his Jailhouse, and all the channels have showed this and the email, so I'm gonna spare you guys all of that because we all know about it. But now he's sucking up to them and talking about how he misses the dogs. Did anybody catch on to that?
Gaining interest.
Right.
And it's very interesting that, I'm sure you've hit on this, immediately Chris is like, by the way, this is public, right? And then right after that, it's like, hey, by the way, this is all Jen's fault. Let's blame her from the mom. Like, the fact that they can do one email from Chris's account and then he can say, here's your mom to come in and speak. Check and balance. Why are they not stopping and going, no, you each have to make your own email? Because it makes me nervous for witness intimidation reasons, or for people who are in gangs who can send messages.
Yeah.
What's to stop Deb from hopping in and sending him a message that maybe dad wouldn't have done?
Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe when the dad signed in, she didn't see it. So I'm trying to justify it.
Oh, that's a good point.
But these people potentially, a little bit older, technology is probably not their best friend. But they're not stupid, so they know that anything that they send is going to be looked at. But the investigators want that they're not allowing him to just communicate with anybody. These are all approved people that he could communicate with. We're going to continue to monitor Stephan Sterns' family's activities. We only touched the tip of the iceberg here.